You've probably noticed there is a real tendency to put on the rose-tinted spectacles when we look back to the recent past. It's so tempting to look back at the days of your youth and think to yourself, music was so much fresher and more exciting. It wasn't. Everyone in the country just seemed to get along better. They didn't. And ordinary people could aspire to home ownership and better quality of life. Okay, fair point. Still, what I'm getting at is that nostalgia is powerful enough to make you completely misremember things. But I'll tell you what you haven't misremembered. Doom was a brilliant game, and it had a brilliant soundtrack, and we're going to delve into its brilliance a little bit today. Right, so the piece of music from the soundtrack I wanted to discuss, I think gets referred to as the Imp song, and I have a recreation here on my looper that I've knocked up. It goes like this. And anyone with even a passing acquaintance with playing music will recognise what that is straight away. That is a 12-bar blues in the key of F sharp. And it follows the 12-bar format exactly as you might expect. We have 4 bars of our root, which is F sharp. Then we have 2 bars of the 4th above F sharp, which is B. And then back to F sharp for 2 bars. Then we go up a 5th, which brings us to C sharp for 1 bar. Down to the 4, B again for 1 bar. And then back to the F sharp. Before a quick turnaround, back up a 5th to C sharp. Before we start the whole sequence again. Nothing really surprising about it at all. I mean, it kind of qualifies as a Doom song by the moody, quite haunting, sustained root notes that run through it, and it's kind of played in a very heavy way, so it gives it a real brooding sort of a quality. But still, it's indisputably a 12-bar blues, so what's going on here? Were the composers just really low on inspiration that day and phoned that in? Well, not quite. There is quite an interesting twist to this piece of music. Right, so the twist comes when the sequence is repeated. We hear this slightly odd melody just faintly accompanying it in the background, which goes a little like this. And as you can hear, we're certainly not in B.B. King territory anymore. So, if you'll excuse my language, what the flipping heck is going on there? Well, to make most sense of this, it probably pays to familiarise yourself with a real old blues cliche. What's going on there in the standard 12-bar sequence is we're implying the sound of a dominant chord. This is a chord that has a minor 7th in it, but a major 3rd. So you're not completely resolved or tense, not completely happy or sad, it's somewhere in the middle. And a typical kind of blues accompaniment you might hear in lead playing would be where we go from the minor 3rd up to the major 3rd. In this case, over our F sharp root note, we would go from the A to the A sharp. So a more typical kind of blues soloing you might hear over a sequence like that might go something like this. And so on. The reason that is so effective is we're blending the sweet and sour elements in such a way that we get a very satisfying resolve. The minor third is a very tense sounding interval. The major third is a very consonant, very resolved kind of an interval. So we're going... So we're kind of providing a little bit of sonic light at the end of the tunnel. We're settling matters, resolving them. What's going on here, though, is the exact opposite. It's moving from the major third down to the minor third. And it's worth noting just how unfamiliar that sounds to most people. That is not what you'd get at your local blues jam. It's the exact opposite effect. We're going from a place of relative stability to somewhere very tense and unresolved. So it makes it the perfect kind of soundtrack for a game like Doom, where the familiarity of the 12-bar sequence is completely undermined by this kind of anti-resolve. And it just follows each of the chords doing exactly that. We're going from the major third to the minor third of F sharp, then of B, and C sharp. So we get this very dark kind of warped record effect that's very, very effectively evocative of a world gone completely to pieces. So there we go, a great little subverting of an old blues cliche for some dark and twisted means. But tell me, what is your favourite song from the game? Or what's your favourite game? Or what's your favourite colour? Basically, just please leave a comment, it really helps out. And speaking of helping out, if you would be so kind as to like and subscribe, I would be really, really grateful. Thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you with something else again soon. Cheers!